Hello, mathematicians. I have heard from a few that you were a little stuck on some of these problems, so I decided to make a video to show you how I would work through some of these if it would help any of you. So for problem number 36, it says there were 30 questions on a science test. Mr. Newton correctly answered 90% of the questions. How many questions did Mr. Newton answer correctly? In class, I gave you this sheet that you could use just to kind of plug things in if you needed some place to start, or this part that was our double V diagram. And on the back is the same strategy, but kind of set up and down instead of side to side with equivalent fractions. So this white paper, just as a reminder, is just here for you to use as you need feel fit. You might use them all, you might use none of them, you might take this information and move it onto a different sheet. So you can use this sheet, you don't have to, it's totally your choice. If I were going to attack this problem, I would first determine what's important. So 30 questions, that's important. And there were 30 questions on the test. So right away, I know that that is my whole test because I remember there's a lot of things that we set up part to whole, part to whole. So I know that that would be my whole. And then I notice that it says he answered correctly 90% of the questions. So that's my percent. How many questions did he answer correctly? So I know what I'm looking for is my part. So my go-to method would be the box tape diagram hybrid that looks like this and is on your white paper here like this. I'm just going to recreate it. So I always start with 0 to 100%. And then my context is down here. This one is about science test. There are 0 problems that are 0. 100% of the test would have been 30. So then I ask myself, if I need to find 90%, how many pieces would I break this box into? Well, to find 90%, I would need 10 sections. And every Crohn's class, and my class, we put this page in our math notebooks, and that can kind of help you to see what you need to break your tape diagram into, depending on which percentage you need. Miss Graves' class, we will glue this in your math notebooks on Monday. Okay, so since I need 90%, I know that I need to go by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I'm just going to break this into 5 pieces here, 5 pieces there. So I know that each of these is worth 10%. So I'm too lazy to mark all of them. So 10%, 20, 30, 40, this is 50%. And the one I really need is this 90%. Well, now that I know how many pieces I have, I need to take my total test questions and break them into 10 pieces. So if I had 30 questions, how many questions would be in each piece that would get me up to 30? 30 divided into 10 is 3. So down here, this would go 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. And so now that I need 90%, 90% matches up right here. So that tells me how many questions did he answer correctly? He answered 27. Does that make sense? Well, 90% is almost all. It's really close to 100. 27 is really close to 30. Yes, I feel like that makes sense. So my answer here would be 27 questions correct. Remember, we want to get in that habit of pulling our correct answer out. We don't want to let anybody just sit here and infer. I could have all this stuff here, but it doesn't mean that I can necessarily answer that last part there. So you want to make sure you pull that section out. All right, number 37. Brad was shooting baskets at the park. He successfully made 60% of his shots. If he made 36 baskets, how many shots did he miss? Ooh. So a couple of things I notice. I have a percent here. 60% is what I'm looking for. I know he made 36 baskets, so that's my part. I don't know how many shots he missed. That would be another part. That's what I'm looking for, is how many did he miss? Oh, sorry, part. But I know if I find the whole, then I could also find that part. So how could I set that up? Well, I'm going to go with my tape diagram again. And I have 0 here, 100% here. I have 0 here. These are baskets that he took. 0 here. And this is the whole. I do not know that part yet. That is something else I'm looking for. What I do know is 60% is 36 baskets. So how can I show 60%? Well, I could show 60% by breaking it into 20% increments, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 100. So I could break it into 5 boxes, or I could show it breaking it into 10 boxes. That would give me 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So at first, I'm going to try the 5 because I'm lazy, and if I can do it in less amounts, that would be good. If it doesn't help me, then I'll just cut each of those in half and do it by 10s. So this is 20%, 40%, 60, 80, 100. So if he made 36 baskets and that was 60%, 60% to 36 means 36 is right here. So if 36 is here and I need to split, what would I skip count by to jump 3 times and land at 36? So I need to take 36 and split it into these 3 pieces. So 36 divided by 3 would be 12. So I'd have 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. In here, that also means that each of these boxes is 12 baskets. So focusing on what I need is how many did he miss? Well, if this is the section that he made, right here, that means that this section over here would have to be the ones that he missed. So the ones that he missed would be 12 baskets and 12 baskets, 24 baskets. So I think he missed, how many shots did he miss? He missed 24 baskets. So that was a lot of thinking. That was a lot of, yes, I did end up finding the whole. It was interesting to kind of think about how to break this up. So it's just a lot of problem solving and making sure that you're focusing on that important part of the problem. All right, number 38. There are a total of 40 puppies, kittens, and birds in a pet store. So that's my whole. Total is 40. So there's 40 animals. Of all those animals, 60% are puppies, 30% are kittens, and the rest are birds. Well, if I know there's 60%, 30%, that's 90%. To make up a whole, percents are always out of, you better have said 100. So that tells me that 10% are birds. So now it says, how many kittens are in the pet store? So they gave me all this information for puppies, birds, but really the only thing that's important is the fact that 30% are kittens. So total of 40 animals. So again, I'm going to go to my go-to strategy here. 0, 100%, 0. Total amount of animals is 40. My context is animals. I need to figure out 30%. So I think I'm going to break this into, sorry, it seems like there's a weird glare. Let's see if I can change to a pen. So if I need to show 30%, I think of the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I'm going to break it into 10 pieces. So here's 50%. 10, 20, here's 30%. And that's really all I need because I'm a lazy mathematician and I determine importance. So if there's 40 here and I have to break 40 into 10 pieces, that means there would be how many in each piece? 4. So this would be 4, 8, 12, 16. I could really stop there, or I could keep going just to make sure that I get to 40. 16, 20, 24, 28. Man, those basic facts come in handy. 32, 36. It does get me to 40. And now 30%. That shows me that that would be 12 kittens. There are 12 kittens in the store. And some of you might be just looking here to see if you have your answers correct or not. Don't worry if you used a different strategy, but you were able to come up with the answer 12 kittens. If you used a different strategy and came up with something other than 12 kittens, you may want to consider using my strategy. Push pause, try my strategy on some of the other ones, and see if you get the answers correct or get the answer that you had before. All right, for problem 39, Rachel's monthly salary for her after-school job is $400. She puts 35% of her salary into savings account each month. How much does Rachel put into her savings each month? Okay, so what I have here is $400 is the total amount, so that's my whole. 35% is my percent that I'm looking for, the part, and I need to know what is the part of the 400 that she puts into savings. So I could try double V or something like that, but since I've had such good success with this strategy, I'm going to just stick with that strategy and try it again. So this is always 0 to 100%. This is my context, which is salary or money. You could just say money. This is 0. This is $400. To get 35%, I would need to break it into 20 pieces and go by 5s, right? Right. So I need 20 pieces instead of 10 this time, which makes things a little small, but I can still handle it. So I have this, and now I need 10 boxes in here instead of just 5. And then I need 10 boxes over here. So here's my halfway. I always kind of like to use that as a benchmark. That's my 50%. What I'm looking for is 35%. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 would be right here. And you could label all of those if you wanted to. But if you can determine importance and not, you might as well save some time. All right, then I have 400, which I'm going to have to split evenly between these 20 piles. So I could probably do that in my head, but just to make sure, I'm going to do it off to the side here. So how many groups of 20 can I make out of 40? 2. I can't just stop there because I need to have a number above every single number in the doghouse. This, remember, is an imaginary 0. I have to bring the 0 down and ask myself, how many groups of 20 can I make out of 0? 0. So there needs to be $20 in each of these sections. So this would be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. I'm going to just keep going to make sure that I get to that 400, but I'm not going to mark all of them. So 140, 160,